Been living here maybe a year, and I hired a guy named Ken. He was a Russian guy out of Whittier that had a boat called the Tropic. And me and 3 other guys, we paid him to take us from Whittier out to Montague Island. And we were going to use his boat for a week for a motel. And just go in and hunt the islands for deer. Well, from the time we got there, we anchored up. From the time we were there to the last day, he was like, man, y'all get those deer, let's get out of here, let's get out of here. It was like we fucked up his schedule when we actually paid him for the time. And he gave everybody a bunch of shit the whole trip. So we finally go back to Whittier. We get into Whittier pretty late at night, you know, and there's all the boats are rafted up at the transit dock. So he pulls up beside this gray longliner called the Hilda. And he pulled up to that boat, and we got all our gear and got off of it. And I said, hey, I'd like to tell you right now for everybody, and I'm speaking for everybody, that you're an asshole. And we don't like to hunt around fucking assholes. From the day we got on your boat to the day we got off, you made us all feel uncomfortable, like we weren't supposed to be there or something, and that ain't the way it's supposed to work. We went out there to have a good time. So I'm speaking for everybody. You are an asshole, buddy. And he looked at me and kind of flicked me off, and I said, you know what, next year, nobody's going to hunt with you. Nobody's going to fish with you, because they're going to hunt and fish with me. I'm going to buy this goddamn boat right here, and you're not going to get nobody, because nobody wants to hunt with an asshole. I made it very clear. And sure enough, I bought that stupid boat.
From him?
No, it was for sale at the dock. It was a 40-foot longliner called the Hilda. So I bought that boat, and now I'm paying $1,000 a month. Here it comes. I'm paying. So I thought, well, I'm just going to start. I wanted to turn it into a hunting and charter thing. If I'd had it my way, I'd have painted it camouflage and named it the USS Poacher. Because it draws attention. It brings people. But anyway, it comes around, I got all this fishing gear, all the hooks, the anchors, everything. So I went and got me permits and a license so I could commercial fish it. And I called up Sahali of Alaska and talked to a guy named JT. And I asked him, I said, I got a 40-footer all rigged out, you're hiring boats? He says, we don't hire boats, we buy fish. And I says, well, who the hell around there is hiring boats? Because I need to put this boat to work. He goes, nobody hires boats. They just buy fish. If you can go out and catch fish, we will buy your fish. I said, so if I fish for you, you guarantee me you'll buy the fish I bring you? He goes, yeah. And he goes, come on over to Seward. I'll rig you out with bait and ice, and you can get started. And I said, okay. He goes, all right, well, come on. I said, well, I'm going to leave today. He said, okay. Well, I spent 2 days coming over from Seward, from Whittier to Seward. And it's really about an 8 or 10 hour run if you just get on it and go. But I'd never been out there before. I didn't know my way around. I wanted to sightsee and check it out and stop and just fish. And I spent 2 days getting over here. Finally, I'll go pulling up to the dock in Seward. And there's JT and there's a couple other boats. He's offloading fish. And he comes out there and he goes, are you Leonard? And I says, yeah. And he goes, man, I almost called the Coast Guard on you. I says, man, you call the Coast Guard on me, I'm going to whip your ass, buddy. Don't you ever call them fuckers on me. Well, where have you been? I said, I've been coming all the way over here from Whittier. He goes, it's an 8 or 10 hour run. You've been gone 2 days. We were starting to worry about you. I said, you shouldn't worry about me. You don't even know who I am yet. And so he goes, so you want to fish for us? I said, I just want to fish and make some money with this boat. He goes, what are you going after? I said, what pays the most? He said, black hawk. And I says, well, there you go. I'm going after blackcod. And he goes, okay. I says, y'all got any around here? Can you show me one? Let me see what it looks like. And he goes, what it looks like? I says, yeah, I ain't never seen one. I'm still wearing my black hat. I got my boots on. I'm still from Texas. And he goes, how long have you been commercial fishing? I says, right now. I'm brand new. He goes, you're brand new. I said, yeah, I bought this boat. It's got all the shit. I got my permit. I'm going to start doing it right now. He goes, you just bought a boat and decided you're going to be captain and go out and commercial fish it. I said, it's a goddamn fish. I'm smarter than a fish. I can catch fish. Why not? And he goes, okay. I said, so where do you go for these black cod? I mean, what's the deal on it? He goes, well, black cod like getting the deepest holes. Go out there to Ialic and get in those holes, you know. And I didn't know where Ialic was. I didn't even know how to spell it. So I asked him, I says, well, he goes, tell you what, bring me your chart and I'll put you on a spot that I know you can catch black cod and you can start figuring out how it works. I said, okay. So I go out in my boat and I get my chart, but it's not a chart like he's got. It's a McNally Rand Road Atlas that I brought from Texas. And it showed the Marine Highway, and I used it to get from there to here. And it all seemed all right to me. And he says, oh my God, is this your chart? And I says, hell yeah, it's a map, ain't it? They all made fun of me. Every one of those guys over there started laughing and making fun of me. And so I went to work for Sahali, and I went out there, and man, I caught more black cod than any of them. I did. I caught more black cod than any boat for Sahali. I even won the king crab. They gave cases of king crab to whoever caught the most fish for the season.
Wow.
So I got 2 cases of king crab. But I really had a lot of fun doing those black cod.
How'd you catch them? With a net?
Well, no, I had a long line. It had 3 sets of 2 miles, so I had 6 miles of gear. I'd set a 2-mile set with a hook about every 4 foot, and I'd set 3 of them. Well, my boat didn't have reverse. The tranny was fucked up. So I set them in a triangle. So when I pull myself on this set, I'd pull it all up and get to this buoy. I'd set this one back, hook on this one, pull it that way. And I pulled myself in that triangle. Well, I get into a little spot in Ialic called Freehold Bay. And I'm up in there and just sitting there waiting and waiting. And
There we go.
This guy, the radio had been talking to me in Russian. And I know they were talking to me because they would end with Hilda, Hilda, Hilda. But I never answered them. I don't know how to talk Russian. I didn't know what they were saying in the first place. And then finally, one day in Freehold Bay, this guy calls me up and he goes, Hilda, you got your radio on? And I said, hello. He says, hi, man, people's been calling you all week, you know. I don't ever answer the radio. I says, well, what do you want? He says, I need your numbers. I said, what numbers? He goes, where's your gears at? And I said, well, I ain't got no numbers. He goes, you didn't take no numbers where your buoys are? How do you find them? And I says, well, I'll set them in a triangle. And I pull myself from point A to B to C, back to A to B to C, and I've just been making circles. He goes, you caught any black cod? And I said, I got some. They'd been catching 10, 12 to a set. They're not tearing them up, but they're getting enough to know they're there. He goes, well, come on over and let's have some coffee. You want some coffee? And I said, hell yeah. I'd been fishing for a couple of 3 weeks by myself. I leave on Monday morning. I didn't come back till Saturday night. And I'd sit out there. So coffee sounded pretty good. I said, yeah, I have some coffee. He says, well, pull over here. I said, I ain't got no reverse, man. It'd be better if you pulled up over here. He goes, nah, we're working on all this stuff. He goes, hell, just ease your boat over here and throw me a line. You don't have to pull up to me. Throw the line, I'll pull you over to me. I said, okay, so I, you know, and I get almost to him and I throw him the line off my bow. And this guy takes the line and he just starts pulling my boat to him. And as it's coming to him, he grabs the front of it to stop, but he can't stop it. It's heavy. And it kind of, the bow kind of stuck up, and when the waves went down and his went down and mine went up, it ripped the whole bow rail off the front of his boat. And it's dead. It's all on the front of my boat. So he's out there, son of a bitch. He couldn't believe it. You know, he goes, man, this is a heavy boat. I said, I told you it was heavy. And we tied up. He goes, how are you setting your gear like that? You can't set gear right across the gut like that. I said, why not? He says, because that's not how you do it. I says, well, that's how I'm doing it. And I ain't got no transmission in reverse, so I'm pulling myself from here to here to there to there to there, and I bait it up and put it back as I go. He goes, really? I says, yeah. He goes, how many black cod you got? I said, I got a few, and I opened up my box, and he looked down there, and he goes, son of a bitch, how could you get all this fish? And I said, I just keep going. So he goes out there and he sets his gear about a quarter mile out from me, all the way around my triangle. He did the same thing I did, but a quarter mile out. Man, he was almost 2 days getting his gear in. He was running skate gear. It tangled up in big old balls, man. It screwed it all up. And finally he got it all in and everything. We'd go back to the harbor, and the next thing you know, JT with Sahali's going, y'all got this dumb redneck from Texas out here catching the hell out of fish, and you guys have been fishing for years. What is the problem? Well, their problem was booze. They went in every night. And a longliner doing 8 knots takes 3 or 4 hours, probably 4 hours to go from where we were fishing in the Seward. So they'd spend 4 hours in the morning coming out. They'd fish 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours. 4 hours going in, they'd hit the breeze. They'd be sitting in there drinking. Me, I pulled gear all day and I pulled gear all night. I would sleep in between sets, and I was bound and determined to pay for this boat. And finally I learned how to do it the way you're supposed to do it. And it gave me a lot of shit after that, trying to do it the way they say you're supposed to do it. I liked the way I did it. So I kept doing it that way. I caught more fish.
That's awesome.